Welcome back to the Hat House, guys. Really appreciate you tuning back in. Today is an unboxing video, but first I wanted to let you know that I read through your comments on the last video we posted on the sales video, where I kind of asked for some ideas on what our next video was going to be. And I hear you. The next one's going to be about how we list and how we get 25 to 50 items listed today. That's really the goal. And it's fun to get all these hats in, but you got to have something to do with them. And you got to make sure you get them listed, or you just keep buying stuff and you go broke. So, but there was one more interesting comment. It was by basically anonymous username ... And they said, what about, let's see a video about hats that don't sell. And I thought at first, who would want to watch a video about a bunch of hats that don't sell? But it is important. And I thought on it for a while before I even responded to it. And I was like, I think that's really important for the community too. Because you'll see in this unboxing video that not every single hat that I pull out is going to sell. And there's a lot of money that are tied up into things that don't sell. There are some great hats in here. One that might even be worth $300. But will it sell for that much? I don't know. But what about all the other hats that I'm going to have to do something else with? That may just be a $5 hat or a $10 hat that may sit on eBay for a year. So it's a really good question. And I do have some hats like that I need to get sorted. And I'm going to kind of show you what I do with them and how we kind of move them down the road, try to monetize them just a little bit, get a little bit of your money back, and put it back into better inventory. But with that said, let's get to the garage and let's unbox this thing. All right, guys, it's time to unbox this one. I always get asked where I get my hats from. I have somebody that I met, and he does really good picking for me. I can't tell you exactly who that is, or I wouldn't have hats anymore. But my suggestion is always to start buying hats, and then when you buy enough hats, eventually you'll find somebody that's willing to sell you their hats. So let's get into this box and see what's in here. All right, first up was this really cool Nike. It's like a 5-panel Y2K. And it even had ear flaps on it. I hope that one really comes clean. That's a good looking hat. Never seen it with the ear flaps like that before. Cool hat. Then we had a vintage Diet Pepsi visor. As always in my boxes, there's KBOO hats. We got another vintage locomotive hat. I told y'all last time, and I don't know if you believe me, but it did sell. This one's kind of bent up. Hopefully I can get it back into shape. But here's another vintage fishing hat. The last one went for like $35. This one's LL Bean. Hopefully we can get, this will probably be closer to 20 to 30. And then we got another vintage fishing hat. This one's Columbia PFG. Here's a Stormy Chromer. The last time we got some women's Stormy Chromer. This time we got men's. That's kind of telling you about the tie on the front. The Stormy Chromer always has the kind of story of how Stormy Chromer came to be on the inside. This one's just a little rough though. It's gonna got some damage. Here's a vintage, like, I don't think it's like a Civil War era style hat. I do not think it's from then, but it is an older, it's leather, probably a replica. It's still probably a vintage replica, but it's still really cool. We got a North Face boonie hat, bucket hat. Then we got an Oshkosh this time, conductor hat. Yeah, another conductor hat. And then never seen this one. Never seen this brand. Jiffy roll up. Kind of a bucket hat. We got a Coors bucket style hat. And another KBOO hat. Pretty good box so far. Then Belay visor. That's a vintage, I believe. We got another winter fleece hat by J. Crew fleece hat. And we got another winter hat. This one's just vintage. You have a generic tag on it, but nice. Another winter hat. These will keep doing well as it keeps getting colder. Another winter fleece hat. This one's Columbia. And then another winter fleece hat by Nautica. And then another Stormy Chromer. Or actually, this isn't Stormy Chromer. It's made like a Stormy Chromer, but it's made by Crown Cap. Still really good wool hat. A flat cap, a Kangol flat cap. Gray. All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh, great. One of the vintage 3-stripe bowling hat with a clock in it. And we got another vintage 3-stripe funny trucker hat. And another 3-stripe Highline Memorial Stadium. And we got a Pokemon, vintage Pokemon, but it's tore up. That's too bad. Sometimes the old Pokemon can do really well. Then we got a Nike Featherlight hat. Pretty good condition. Here we go. Tell you about these all the time. This is a 5-panel Nike running hat. This one is AW84, easy 35, maybe 40. These hats, always be on the lookout for them. I'm pretty sure that's reflective too, so that helps. Here's another Nike hat. This one is another Nike Featherlight hat, good color. And another, probably women's Nike Featherlight hat. And another Nike Featherlight hat. Well, this one's AW84 too, so this one, talking another $35. It is white. It's pretty dirty. I don't know how well you can see that. Hopefully we get it clean. Here's an older Nike Dry Fit lightweight hat. Wow, we got into the Nike hats here. We got another Nike golf hat. The Vapor on the side. Another Nike golf hat. And another Nike hat. Nike golf. Hopefully we can get these shaped up a little better. We got a Carhartt hat. We got a vintage Marlin gun hat. That'll be really good. That's cool. Then we got a vintage funny trucker hat. Fishing puff paint. Steel always does really good. Never had this one, but the black one with the big patch on it usually goes for 30 to 50, just depending on your condition. This one I would guess is probably around a $30 hat too. Vintage camo Bud King of Beers, just really faded. Then we got a Dole. This might be good. Dole corduroy vintage trucker. Then we got another funny vintage trucker hat. Just a lot of foam missing. Another funny trucker hat, Married to None. Then we got another gun hat, which are always great. Remington vintage trucker. Then we got a corduroy Strolls hat. I do not know what company that might be. If you know what Strolls is, let me know. Take a guess here. I'm going to guess, I don't know, maybe some sort of grocery store or convenience store, maybe? That's my guess. We got a cool Chevy corduroy with the ladies on it. Then we got a vintage Yellowstone National Park with a deer and a patch. That's cool. All right, now we got a few more truckers here, but then a lot of sports hats too. KSN Sports Club. Oh, that's a AM radio. We got a Cud Pressure Control. That's a vintage hat. That one's really good shape. Hopefully I can find somebody looking for that patch. Toole County State Bank vintage trucker. We got a Dow vintage trucker. Got to be cleaned up. All right, we've got a Mighty Ducks. Problem with this Mighty Ducks is there's really no brand. It just has a Made in USA snap, so it probably is vintage, but no brand. Probably a boot from the 90s. Then we got Utah Jazz, vintage Twins Enterprise Utah Jazz. Then we got a vintage Washington State Cougars. That's cool. Then we got a vintage New Era Seattle Mariners. Then we got a vintage Nebraska corduroy hat. It's not necessarily Nebraska Cornhuskers, but it's got the nice script spell out on it. Then we got another Seattle Mariners. These usually do pretty well. This kind of mesh in the older versions. This one's Cooperstown, so it's newer, but this mesh right here usually does well on the New Era hats. We got another vintage New Era Cincinnati Reds, $30 hat. Washington Huskies, still got the pins on it. Then we got Montana Department of Fish and Wildlife. It's really cool trucker. That one's nice. Then we got a Colorado Rockies, vintage Twins Enterprise, 12 Colorado Rockies. Oh man, I wish I would have had this one a couple of weeks ago. Colorado Buffaloes, still pretty hot, but there's a nice vintage Colorado Buffaloes, great shape. Here's another Mighty Ducks. This one, I don't know if you can see how it's kind of yellowing. Hopefully we can get it cleaned up a little bit. But I think this is on the G cap. Hard to kind of see, but this could be a really good $30 hat too. Another Mighty Ducks. Man, I ran into the Mighty Ducks. That's good. Another Mighty Ducks. This one might be from the movie. Still, Mighty Ducks hats are great. We got a New Era Chicago White Sox. I'll have to look these characters up. They may have some significance. It says I got to shine. Really cool hat. Oh, here on the Made in USA demo world. This might be custom, but still really cool. Embroidered like cartoon characters on this one. Really nice shape too. That's a sweet hat. Oh, here we go. Wu-Tang Clan. This one's newer. The good thing is it is on the Wu-Tang tag. Oh, here we go. Vintage Redman. Right there. That's a good one. Great patch. It is vintage. Really cool hat. We got another Cincinnati Reds New Era vintage. Oh, here we go. I don't think I've shown you this on any of the videos so far. Surely if you sold any clothing or anything, you know that logo right there. You got Arc'teryx. Just depends. Usually a $30 to $50 hat. Sometimes more. If I just have to look up that model, how old it is. But at least 30, probably 50. possibly 80 to 100. All right, we got another Sports Specialties side hit logo. The only problem is I've told you to look for the side logo, which is great, but it is an awesome size. It's just fitted. Still, really beautiful hat with the side logo. Music First, just a vintage, probably bank. VH1, vintage VH1 hat. Another Nougler pinwheel hat. We got another 3-stripe trucker, losing the phone. Briggs, Seattle, Washington. We got a Seattle Supersonics New Era. It's going to need some shaping. Hopefully I can get that one back into shape. The bill's all warped up too. East Side Rental 3-stripe. We got a Redskins, vintage Redskins painter hat. Really cool. All right, that was a pretty good lot there. All right, another train conductor hat. He really thinks I like these. Now this one's got a cool little metal thing on the side and a train spike on that side. All right. Here's this is called the game. This is a 3-bar logo. 3 bars, 1, 2, 3 bars on the game. And it is vintage because it was made in USA. $50 hat probably if it comes clean enough. Some people are really collectors of the 3-bar vintage the game hats. The game really makes a 3-bar. They make a circle hat. It's got this circle logo on it. And then the game makes, of course, there's this big logo, the game, which is hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It just has a huge logo of whatever team it is all over the hat. But that might be a good hat too. Here we go. What I tell you to always keep a lookout for is the MLB logo. Look at that American National League side hit. American flag on the back. Fitted, New Era. Awesome hat. Just needs a little cleaning. These are usually $20 hat right here. Nike Golf. We got a vintage with the deer on it. Always good. Oh, here we go. Another Arc'teryx. We got a Nike Golf hat. We got a Nike Jumpman hat. Good hat right here. We got another Nike Featherlight 5-panel. Good hat. Who is this? Hung Koo. This one's new to me. I'll definitely have to look up that character. See if he's in demand. We got a vintage. American Needle. Boston Red Sox. I think it had fake leather here. And it's just all kind of worn out. I don't know. I don't know if it's still worth anything. Milwaukee Brewers, or that might be their farm team. I have to look it up why it has an H on it. The San Francisco Giants fitted. We got a Roslyn Bulldogs. Not exactly sure who they are. Corduroy hat. We got a Vikings, vintage Vikings hat. Then we got a Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers fitted. Atlanta Braves fitted. Tampa Bay Rays fitted. Chicago White Sox snapback. Vintage outdoor cap. So not the greatest. Hopefully that's the Philadelphia Phillies. Make sure this bill is still good to go. But I might have to look that logo up. Detroit Tigers. This one's Drew Pearson. DPE. Drew Pearson is usually makes some really good ones. This is not the most desirable print on the front here. This is also kind of a bar logo print. Drew Pearson's usually pretty good. Wyoming, Vintage Twins Enterprise, Wyoming. Cowboys. Think Boston Bruins. Hockey. Vintage New Era hockey hat. Salmon. Here's a good ski maker. Good hat. Another Seattle Mariners vintage. Here's a Vikings, just kind of faded. Probably won't do great. And it's kind of torn up right there. Florida Gators fitted. Miami Marlins. Florida Marlins fitted. Oakland A's. Trucker. Vintage. Cleveland Browns vintage. Snapback. Seattle Supersonics, Mitchell and Ness. This is a newer one. Kind of a remake retro. Still really clean though. We got a Seattle Mariners with the cool print on it. Vintage. That's different. I'd say that's probably a $30 hat. Cincinnati Reds. Snapback vintage 1990. And then we got a San Francisco 49ers vintage snapback. I am pretty pleased with this box. I think we did pretty well. There were some really good hats in there. Look, some really good sports hats. Some really good running hats, Nike hats. Pretty pleased with it. Some of them we kind of crossing our fingers that we get cleaned up enough and they'll flip. We'll see you guys soon.